Dear conference attendees, the title of the paper we will present is Means of Identifying Anti-Discrimination in Educators to Begin Building Bridges. In many parts of the world, racial, social, and various other forms of discrimination remain prevalent even within school settings. These discriminations can manifest in numerous ways, sometimes becoming dramatically violent. It is essential for educational authorities to recognize the different forms of racism present in schools to fully grasp the severity of the issue. According to a study by the Welsh government, students exhibit racist behaviors not only based on differences in skin color, nationality, culture, religion, ethnic origin, and social background, but also based on appearance, such as the clothes they wear, their weight, and even their manner of speaking. Schools and their authorities, including educators, must actively monitor and identify instances of racism to take appropriate actions against it. In a survey, educators did not acknowledge that daily life in their school is affected by students' stereotypes and prejudice, nor did they admit to the presence of racist incidents. Researchers believe that educators might have been reluctant to admit these issues to avoid creating negative impressions and potential workplace problems. According to a study, even when educators are aware of such incidents, they might overlook them due to their own biases and stereotypes. Because of these factors, we created a questionnaire to investigate educators' views on racism in schools in Western Greece. Below, we will present a portion of the questionnaire and the methodology used. The study used a questionnaire in a quantitative research approach with a sample of 322 primary school teachers from the Western Greece region. The functionality of the questionnaire was tested through a pre-pilot implementation to correct any errors or omissions and generally helped in refining our research tool, February-March 2019. This was followed by a pilot implementation of the questionnaire, May-June 2019, aiming to gather experiences and conclusions that would assist in the more effective implementation of the main research. The pilot phase also sought to determine whether the tool was practical and efficient. The main research was conducted from mid-October 2019 to January 2020. Our questionnaire included a series of structured, closed-ended questions. Significant steps proceeded in its development, such as defining the specific research objective, selecting the data collection method, and understanding the characteristics of the respondents. The questionnaire was designed to be clear, comprehensive, and included basic instructions and explanations. It is divided into 4 parts. The first part focuses on the demographic characteristics of the respondents, 9 questions. We chose to place this section at the beginning because the first impression formed by the respondent is always positive. The second part concerns the respondents' perceptions of the phenomenon of racism in the school environment, 10 questions. The third part addresses the educators' training on racism, 12 questions, and the fourth part deals with the practices used by educators to combat racism, 9 questions. As one can see, questions on related topics were grouped into sections to ensure the questionnaire had a logical order and appearance. All questions were based primarily on foreign literature as well as Greek literature to ensure the appropriate scientific background and to be supported by reliable sources. In the first part, respondents are asked to provide demographic information necessary for our research to establish the necessary correlations between independent and dependent variables. The data includes gender, age, employment status, marital status, higher education, level of proficiency in foreign languages, years of service, residential area, and the school district. The structure of the second section of our questionnaire pertains to educators' perception of racism in the school environment. The axes were as follows: frequency of racist behavior in the school environment, ways in which racist behavior manifests in the school environment. Based on the above, the reason for discrimination of racism were also defined. The training on racism was the subject of the third section of our questionnaire. Training educators on issues of diversity and racism is imperative according to studies. The following axes were formed for this section: the necessity of training, training providers, types and forms of training, effectiveness of training. In the fourth and last part of our questionnaire, participants were prompted to discuss strategies from tackling racism. This section had two main focuses: the individual efforts of educators from preventing and addressing racism, incorporating programs, interdisciplinary approaches, self-awareness, reflection, and classroom-level activities, as well as actions aligned with its school's internal regulations, such as incident documentation with coding, participation in European programs, and presentation or participatory activities. As an example question from the second part of the questionnaire, we ask educators whether students at the school where they work discriminate against those who are different based on gender, race, appearance, ethnicity, religion, academic performance, good or bad, socioeconomic status. Responses are accompanied by Likert scale options such as never, rarely, sometimes, often, and always. In the above question, we seek to learn about the expression of racism in the school environment, such as gestures, verbal attacks, distractions of personal belongings, exclusion and isolation from groups. In the specific question, we ask educators through which means they have been trained on racism prevention and intervention, such as programs, special groups, seminars, conferences, workshops, postgraduate studies, doctoral dissertation. Responses are accompanied by Likert scale options such as never, rarely, sometimes, often, and always. In the preceding question, we inquire about the strategies educators employ to prevent racism. Specifically, whether they utilize educational materials such as language, religion, history for stimuli, incorporate literature, or integrate theatrical plays and films. In this particular question, we are interested in whether the school where they serve has promoted actions for the prevention and addressing of racism, such as interesting actions against racism, discussions and storytelling sessions about diversity, programs against racism, excursions and collaboration programs with schools from foreign countries, and participating in anti-racist educational activities. In the present study, the validity is evident as all the question in the questionnaire has been derived from bibliographical references of the study, ensuring a correspondence between questions and content. We assessed the reliability of our data by calculating the Krobach alpha value and observed how satisfactory and reliable the responses provided by the participant who completed it were. We note that the Krobach alpha value for our research is equal for all questions in the sections regarding perceptions of racism exceeding 0.7, which is particularly satisfactory as it indicates the higher reliability of the results. Similarly, the Krobach alpha value was calculated for the factors of the questions in the last two sections, where all questions demonstrate satisfactory reliability of the results, with Krobach alpha value exceeded 0.7. Thank you very much.